Have you ever found yourself watching an episode of SML and experienced a strange sense of deja vu? As if the characters and their crazy antics seemed eerily familiar? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the mind-blowing theory that might just change the way you look at your favorite SML characters forever. What if I told you that the beloved characters from SML, Jeffy, Junior, Cody, and Joseph, are more than just quirky creations sprung from the mind of Logan? What if, in fact, they are heavily inspired by none other than the iconic cast of South Park? Yes, you heard that right. The evidence I will reveal is too compelling to ignore. And in this video, we'll be exploring the striking similarities between these two seemingly unrelated shows. From the uncanny personality parallels to the shared comedic style, we'll leave no stone unturned as we build a case that suggests Logan drew heavy inspiration from South Park when crafting the personalities of SML characters. And trust me, once you see the connections, you won't be able to unsee them. For the record, I am not claiming that Logan stole the characters. I am claiming that he was inspired by them. It is perfectly normal when creating your own characters. We need to start things off by taking a closer look at two of SML's most iconic characters, Jeffy and Junior. On the surface, they may seem like just another pair of wacky friends, but when we start to examine their personalities and behaviors, a striking similarity of two of South Park's most notorious residents begins to emerge. First, let's talk about Jeffy. This lovable yet dim-witted character is known for his catchphrases, mischievous antics, and tendencies to find himself at the center of the show's craziest adventures.
Hey, Danny! Oh God, it sucks so bad.
Sound familiar? That's because Jeffy bears an uncanny resemblance to none other than Stan Marsh from South Park. Think about it. Both characters are often the catalyst for their respective shows' most outrageous plot lines. Whether it's Jeffy's ill-fated attempts at literally anything, or Stan's hilarious, disastrous schemes.
Talk a little harder, Billy.
These two characters have a knack for getting themselves and their friends into all sorts of trouble.
Oh boy.
But beyond their love of mischief, Jeffy and Stan also share a certain wide-eyed innocence that makes them instantly endearing to all audiences.
I'm going to cut off my hand.
But the parallels don't stop there. Let's move on to Junior, the over-eager and sometimes sadistic SML character who seems to be a direct parallel to Eric Cartman from South Park. Both Junior and Cartman have a tendency to get caught up in wild schemes,
Guys, I'm so hungry.
often dragging their friends along for the ride. They're the masterminds behind some of the show's most memorable and crazy moments, and their larger-than-life personalities are impossible to ignore. Furthermore, Junior and Cartman share a certain self-centeredness that often puts them at odds with their friends. They're not afraid to manipulate situations to get what they want.
There is no rip curl, Cody. Grab the ball.
Yeah, they don't exist. Yeah, okay.
And they have a habit of disregarding the feelings of others in pursuit of their own desires. It's almost as if Logan used Cartman as a blueprint when crafting Junior's personality. The similarities are simply too strong to dismiss as mere coincidence. Now that we've explored the striking parallels between Jeffy and Junior and their South Park counterparts, let's turn our attention to two other key members of the SML cast, Cody and Joseph. First up, we have Cody, the intelligent, level-headed voice of reason amidst the chaos of the SML world.
I'm the smartest kid in this class.
He's the one that often finds himself trying to talk sense into his more impulsive friends, and his quick wit and sharp intellect are always on display. If this description sounds familiar, that's because Cody is a dead ringer for Kyle Broflovsky from South Park.
The only right one in your mind.
Like Cody, Kyle is portrayed as the smartest member of his friend group.
But you know, I've learned something today. I've learned that people who want power, a lot of power, always end up dead.
He's the one that often sees through the absurdity of his friends' schemes and tries to steer them in a more rational direction. Both characters are the perfect counterpart to their more reckless companions, and their level-headedness is a crucial component of their respective shows' dynamics.
Yeah, but you know, I've learned something today. It would have been wrong for us to exploit Butter's weight loss, because then lots of fat people would have believed it, and then gone and eaten a ton of Chinese food instead of dieting properly. They'd still be fat, and we'd be responsible for their shattered dream.
But Cody and Kyle's similarities go beyond just their intelligence. They also share a certain moral compass that sets them apart from their friends. They're not afraid to stand up for what they believe in, even if it means going against the grain. In a world full of crazy antics and outrageous plot lines, Cody and Kyle serve as the anchors that keep their friends grounded. And then there's Joseph, the SML character who seems to be a direct parallel to Kenny McCormick from South Park. While Joseph may not wear an orange parka or muffle his speech like Kenny,
Shut up, Junior.
So Joseph.
he does share the South Park character's mischievous streak and wants to tag along on his friends' adventures.
This lifestyle's awesome. I wish I could live this forever.
But the similarities between Joseph and Kenny go beyond just their shared love of mischief. Both characters also serve as the wild card of their respective friend groups. They're the ones who are always ready for a good time, no matter how dangerous or ill-advised it may be. And while they may not always be the central focus of their show's plot lines, their presence is always felt and adds an extra layer of unpredictability to the proceedings. It's almost as if Logan took the essence of Kenny and infused it into Joseph's character. He may not be as iconic as Jeffy or Junior, but Joseph's role in the SML world is no less important, just like Kenny's role in South Park. But the similarities between SML and South Park don't just stop at the characters. Perhaps the most compelling evidence that suggests a connection between the two shows is the striking similarity in their comedic styles, particularly in SML's earlier videos. When Logan first started creating SML, he quickly gained a reputation for his edgy, boundary-pushing humor that wasn't afraid to tackle controversial topics.
When I, Donald J. Trump, is re-elected president again, we do not want to share the moon with anyone ever again.
Sound familiar? That's because this is the exact same comedic formula that has made South Park a cultural phenomenon for over 2 decades.
It looks like one of those Ethiopians. Oh man, they must have accidentally sent him instead of the sports watch. Maybe they took it literally when we said we wanted to adopt a kid.
Both shows have a knack for using crude humor and outrageous scenarios to comment on societal issues and pop culture. They're not afraid to push buttons and challenge their audience's thoughts, and they often do so in a way that is both hilarious and makes you wonder if you're allowed to laugh at the joke. Take, for example, SML's early videos that dealt with topics like drug use, adult themes, and violence. These videos were a far cry from the more family-friendly content that the channel produces today, but they were a crucial part of establishing SML's unique voice and style. Similarly, South Park has never shied away from tackling taboo subjects, and its willingness to go where other shows won't has cemented its place in television history. But the similarities in comedic style go beyond just the subject matter. Both SML and South Park also share a love of absurdist humor and a willingness to embrace the surreal. Whether it's Jeffy's nonsensical catchphrases or the outlandish plot lines that often define South Park episodes, both shows have a way of taking mundane situations and turning them on their head in the most hilarious way possible. It's almost as if Logan took the comedic formula that made South Park a hit and adapted it for his own YouTube audience. The parallels in humor style are simply too strong to ignore, and they provide perhaps the most compelling evidence that SML is heavily inspired by the iconic adult cartoon.
Mama ain't raised no bitch. Your mom didn't raise you at all. Exactly.
As we've seen throughout this video, the evidence that suggests a connection between SML and South Park is simply too compelling to ignore. From the striking similarities between the show's main characters to the shared comedic style that defines both series, it's clear that Logan drew heavy inspiration from the iconic adult cartoon when crafting his own unique world of characters. But why does this matter? Why should we care about the possibility that SML is heavily influenced by South Park? Well, for one thing, it speaks to the enduring legacy of South Park and its impact on popular culture. The fact that a show like SML, which has amassed a massive following on its own right, would take so many cues from South Park is a testament to the latter's staying power and influence. But beyond that, the connection between SML and South Park also highlights the ways in which different forms of media can inspire and influence one another. It's a reminder that no creative work exists in a vacuum, and that even the most original and unique pieces of art are often the result of a complex web of influences and inspirations. So whether you're a die-hard SML fan, a South Park devotee, or just someone who appreciates a good fan theory, there's no denying the significance of the connection between these two iconic franchises. It's a testament to the power of creativity, the enduring influence of great art, and the sheer joy of uncovering hidden meanings in the things we love. And speaking of hidden meanings, have you ever noticed how Jeffy and Marvin never run out of money? In the video on screen now, I dive into the entire history of Jeffy and how his biological father is actually secretly working behind the scenes to protect Jeffy.